What's up, everybody? I am Mike Somich for RacingDudes.com. Thank you for joining me today. We're going to talk a little bit about the pace setup here in this year's Kentucky Derby. We're going to take a look at the past and see, since 2013, when the point system was implemented, just how the pace has done, how fast they've gone, and where the winners come from. So, without further ado, let's just jump into some numbers here, and let's talk a little bit first about what we've seen from the early pace since 2013. The fastest half mile that we've seen actually came in 2013. We went 45.33 seconds for that opening half mile. And you'll note that Orb, your eventual winner, came from 16th place. So at that point in the race, the half mile in, he was in 16th place, made a monster move around the turn, was able to get 2 by that final furlong, was able to then push on by and get the win. It's important to note that when you look at this, as the pace slows down, a lot of the winners have come from much closer. So we go from California Chrome all the way down to Medina Spirit. The winner at the half mile point was no further back than third at that half mile point anytime in those runnings. We had a couple paces that were also in that 45 range. You'll see Nyquist there, 45.72, Justify, 45.77. Those are the only other two times we've run under the 46-second mark in the Kentucky Derby since 2013. Both of those horses got breathers in that third quarter. They both ran 1:10, 1:11, 6 furlongs, which allowed them to kind of have a little bit left coming down the lane. Nyquist was sitting in second, obviously, just as was Justified at that half mile point. Both of them took the lead around that far turn and kind of never relinquished it. You'll notice we've had 4 wire-to-wire winners of the last 5 years, including Always Dreaming, Maximum Security, Authentic, and Medina Spirit. The fastest half mile we saw at any of those times was 46.53 from Always Dreaming, 46.41 from Authentic, Always Dreaming right behind with 46.53. So what we've learned is that kind of in recency, if you're going that 46-2, 46-3 half mile, you've got a good shot at being able to take a field gate to wire if you're good enough up front. A lot of those horses were also the favorite or shorter prices in this spot. Obviously, Medina Spirit wins at 12-1, and Authentic the year before won at 8-1. But prior to that, if you look at Maximum Security, favorite, Justify, favorite, Always Dreaming, one of the first choices, Nyquist, favorite. So a lot of favorites prior to those last 2 wire-to-wire winners. Now let's jump over and look at what horses have done this year in their prep races. So these are the fastest horses that we've seen from a half mile time in the early preps. And number one thing that jumps out at me, Classic Causeway, your fastest half mile going 2 turns in any prep race, 46.68. The next fastest time, Cyberknife, 46.82. Both of those times are slower than the horses that have been wiring the Kentucky Derby. So everyone's talking about how we might have a hot pace. We have a lot of horses that want to be closer. There haven't been any half miles that have come close to the 45 seconds that you need for a pace meltdown. So I would be very surprised if I saw a pace meltdown in this year's Kentucky Derby just because of these times leading into it. Now, a couple things I want to note here. First off, I think a lot of horses on this list could run faster than what we've seen. Zozos specifically is fastest opening half mile in 47.35. Zozos has gone much faster going 1 turn. So he has the speed to kind of be more forwardly placed if Zozos chooses so. Same with Teba. 47.12 is the fastest opening half mile. You'll note that he ran a 22.89 opening quarter. Clearly could go faster than 47.12 if he really wants to. Now, it'd be interesting to see kind of where we set up and how we draw. The other one I want to note in here is Messier, because that 46.84 to me is a little bit slower than Messier could go as well. And with how well Teba rated last time we saw him in the San Diego Derby, I wouldn't be shocked if Messier is the one sitting right outside of Classic Causeway, kind of what we saw in the San Diego Derby with Forbidden Kingdom, and Messier sitting right to the outside. Other things I want to make sure I note here on this list. First off, Cyberknife's 46.82 and 22.65. were both in the Arkansas Derby. Now, the Arkansas Derby had a bunch of horses that actually would have made this list because of how tightly bunched they were early. Even Un Ojo, Barber Road, they were close enough for that early half-mile time. Race didn't end up as well. You saw a lot of horses kind of back up there. So I didn't include all those horses because I don't see any way that Barber Road is going to be pushing the pace. He was sitting in 7th or 8th. His half-mile time was still fast enough to do it, but it's just not his style. That was more the race that caused the time versus the horse wanting to actually run that fast early. So those horses didn't make the list. Now, as we go down here, the one horse on the bottom that is a definite wild card here is Summers Tomorrow. The UAE Derby times, they're not that they're hard to compare to what we've seen here in the U.S. from a Derby prep perspective. Summers Tomorrow will be forwardly placed, though, so I would expect to see Summers Tomorrow pushing the pace up front with Classic Causeway. I don't think Cyberknife is going to be on the pace. I think you're probably thinking second or third. And I'd expect Zozos to be higher up on this list than what we're necessarily seeing him here, sitting down in that 7th spot. Now, things I'm looking for when the draw comes out. Where does Messier draw? Where does Taiba draw? Both of them could show speed if they want to. They could both be part of that early pace presence. I wouldn't be shocked, like I said, if Messier is on the lead or sitting second to Classic Causeway early. I think that you'll see Epicenter forwardly placed. Simplification is another one that I think is pretty interesting. We saw Simplification in a one-turn mile go, it was 46 and change, 45 and change. So very much could be part of this early pace if Simplification chooses to do so. However, we saw Simplification really struggle when trying to do that in the Florida Derby, whereas the two previous preps in both the Fountain of Youth and the Holy Bull, coming from a little bit off, it seemed to be more of his strategy. So horses that I think the draw is really key for here. Classic Causeway, obviously, the closer to the, well, not close to the rail. If we could draw between the 3 and the 13, that is a great draw for Classic Causeway. Should be able to shoot out of the gate and not use too much horse, either trying to make sure you get out of the inside or having to cross over the whole field on the outside. Cyberknife, obviously an important draw for Cyberknife as well. You do not want to be inside or outside. But to me, Messier and Taiba are the key. Both of them are fast enough to be the horse that presses the pace. Both of their draws will be wildly, wildly important. Make sure you check back here at racingdudes.com's YouTube page. We're going to have additional updates as we get close to the Kentucky Derby. We'll have a live draw on Monday. We've got live shows Thursday and Friday of this week. We'll be live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Central next week, talking all things Kentucky Derby. Leading up to the big race, we'll have live shows on Thursday night and Friday night from Kentucky. I'm lucky enough to be going this year. Can't wait to get out there. So make sure you check it out. Hopefully we'll see you guys soon. Good luck at the track.
This has been a presentation of racingdudes.com, your destination for all things horse racing and sports betting. Whether you want free winners, expert insider picks, up-to-the-minute trackside weather reports, or podcasts and videos for bettors of all skill levels, never make another wager without visiting the Racing Dudes. First,